What's going on, gang? It's been a busy month for me, as many of you who follow me already know, so you probably are not surprised to see me half asleep. Staying up a little late for the Super Bowl so I could boo at Taylor Swift didn't help, but that's besides the point. Fun game. Imagine that. So, just to start on a conspiracy note, there's a conspiracy that the Chiefs would win, and they did. And then there's a conspiracy, part two, that Travis Kelce, who I believe is a liberal plant, will manipulate Taylor to endorse Biden to affect the election. That's the other half. I'm waiting for that part to happen. If it does, that would be, dudes, I'll have to make a whole new tinfoil hat, because that would be like 4 for 4 in the last few months that some of my conspirational friends have come up with. But today I actually want to talk about something different. Today I want to actually talk about the shooting in Houston. Normally I go through a lot of different headlines. I wanted to talk about this one in specific. So I found it odd because the initial reports were that a woman with a child went to the church and shot up the church, was engaged by off-duty officers who were contracting to the church, and wound up dead. And one man was shot and injured. Fortunately, no one else was hurt. And they kept mentioning it was during the Spanish language mass. It was during the Spanish language mass. And I think they were secretly, the media was secretly hoping that it was like a white guy. And then they could blame white people for everything and go, the white guy shot the Mexicans. But that's not what happened. And first of all, they're not all Mexicans. They're Honduran and Puerto Rican, and they're white people who go there with their friends and speak Spanish. So, I mean, it's freaking Texas. But they seem to be very focused on the person attacked the Spanish-speaking service. Come to find out, the person was Latina. Then it said there was a woman with a child who went in and shot up the church. And again, I didn't post anything because it's like, well, that sounds like a domestic thing. Like, she got divorced and the man may have been at the church and she's like, I'm going to go kill him, right? So I'm still thinking along the tracks of, I'm not going to get hyperbolic because it was a very quick mass shooting. It was a woman, which is kind of unusual. It's usually a guy. I'm not going to get suckered into they shot the Spanish mass because they hate Hispanics and racism and all that bullshit. No. I was thinking sick person or very angry person went and lashed out. So I got an update this afternoon. This individual was a Salvadoran man who had transitioned to a woman who had a 5-year-old boy who was angry at the church for whatever reason and decided to shoot up the church, and had once upon a time come here illegally and had a criminal record. Yet he had a long gun, an AR-15, and but immediately walked in there and started firing, I guess using the boy as a shield. The cops shot him, the kid got injured. I'm sure the cops hurting about that one. I mean, but what do? You save the kid and then 20 other people die. I mean, this person, this crazy man-woman is to blame for this shit, period. Not the AR-15, not the freaking cop, not the church. I'm not a fan of Joel Osteen, but I'm pretty sure he didn't want people to get shot in his church either. This was an asshole who came here illegally, had a criminal record, used drugs, did bad shit, decided he was a girl, and then went and shot people. And now he's dead. Fuck him. Okay. That being said, this is the kind of stuff I've been talking about. When I say you're going to see a lot more weird shit, and a lot of other channels are talking about it, you're just going to see people, between the inflation, the economy. What we're seeing in the energy sector is large companies buying up small ones so that there are less companies total. They're trying to consolidate acreage for solar or wind or oil and gas. But then you have duplicate people, right? You have this team here and this team here, and you put them together, and now you're going to lay people off because you have redundancy. We haven't seen it yet in certain sectors. We've already seen it in others, automotive and tech. Maybe energy will be next. Who knows? Point being, with the economy, you've got wars popping off, weird ones. They're starting to escalate. there's a lot of people under a lot of stress, either self-induced through the media or social media, or through work, or through illness, or through whatever it was. A lot of people have not come down from 2020. They're still like this, and you're going to start seeing people freak out. When I have said in the past, you need to plan for that 90% probability shit, this is the kind of stuff. Now, is there a possibility a UFO will come down from the sky and deploy, I don't know, a T-Rex with a laser gun and a claw, and it's going to chase people around? Sure, I could get a space T-Rex. Hypothetically, it's possible there are reptilian creatures in the universe. That's my small percentage. I have a way bigger likelihood of getting killed in a car wreck or getting shot by a crackhead than I would getting in a fight with space T-Rex, right? So when you prep, when you train, keep that in mind. Train for the things that will most likely happen. So when I see, like, a lot of shooters will go and they'll rig up on their tactical gear, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. And you go out and you got your plate carrying all your horse shit and you're like, woo, and you have fun. That's great. Running and gunning is good stuff. But part of your training should be civilian clothes, in your hoodie, with your concealed holster. Try to draw from that concealed holster. I have videos of that where I got hung up in my own shirt. I used a single point sling and hit myself in the nutsack with the front end of a rifle after I cleared it because I let it go and it went wonk, and I sack checked myself, which did not feel good. You know, I've tripped on the range because I'm running in sand. Training for real life situations in real life clothing, in real life conditions is invaluable. It doesn't mean you have to be a commando or a Green Beret. It just means you have to understand how the day-to-day stuff you deal with, your clothing, your holster, your truck, your vehicle, how that works. Have you ever taken a tactical driving course? I actually did 20 years ago. The shit saved my life 5 years ago. Who'd have thought? But it did. Because I knew how to slow down my vehicle, stop and evade fast enough to avoid getting creamed by a runaway semi. It wasn't a bad guy. It wasn't like, you know, a crackhead or a Sicario. It was a dude blew out a tire and his shit lost control and physics took over, and I didn't want to be part of his physics. I made my own physics and wound up with a fucked up SUV in the grass. But the training stuck with me. 18 years, 15 years, however many years later, it came back like that. So take the time to train. Can you draw from concealment? Do you know how to quickly put the tourniquet on? Do you know how to take it off? Do your family members know how to do this? Do you know how to go from business attire to gray man and make yourself look uninteresting? Do you carry extra changes of clothes when you're traveling or going to and from work? Now, some of you are fortunate enough that you work out in the country or in remote locations. I'm kind of in between there. And you can have stuff in your truck that you can't have in the office, right? Because the office frowns on it. Understand these are the likely scenarios: the flooding, the tornadoes, the random lightning strikes, bad drivers, drunk drivers, crime. Don't prep for that 1% possibility of, oh, civil war. Could it happen? Absolutely. I'm not prepping for that, but the training I do for my day-to-day self-defense can be applicable to that. Understand, remember, your time is a resource. Your effort, your energy is a resource, and you need to make the most of it. So again, this person was a once upon a time illegal immigrant who was from Honduras, who then transitioned from a man to a woman, who had a criminal history. Oh, and he had Free Palestine allegedly written across the rifle. But now they're going to disappear that because nobody wants to talk about it. In any case, folks, and technically if he did that on behalf of Palestine, then that's a terrorist incident. But that's up to the law enforcement people to categorize. Sadly, they would not agree with me. That being said, focus on the things that are most likely to happen: the blackouts, the floods, the supply chain issues. If there's a riot, we had a shit ton of riots the last 3 years. Do you have what you need in your house to basically stay home for a week? If you don't, start looking at why. So, folks, I wanted to talk about that because this shooter who got completely smoked by 2 off-duty cops, sadly his kid got hurt in the church as he came in and started firing, and the cops were like on his ass almost instantly. He didn't have time to consolidate and he went down. Fuck him. Excuse my language. That guy pissed me off for shooting up a church. But this kind of nutty shit is going to get worse. We have people in the streets spitting at other adults because they don't disagree or their words are violence. If you think words are violence, you have never experienced a true violent act, because I promise you, I have, and I lost this one fight, and I never forgot that shit. That was a most painful lesson, and any of you who've gotten your ass beat on the street or in a battlefield know exactly that feeling, where I just screwed up and I need to not make sure that happens ever again. So again, folks, these are the kind of things that are gonna start popping up, and they're so hard to predict because you never know what the guy next to you has had happen. His wife left him, her husband left her, he became suicidal. You don't know what the deal is, and you never know who's gonna pop out of the woodwork. But train for that, not paranoia. If you train and you're consistent and you're confident, I have good shoes on, I can run, I know how to draw from under my hoodie, I can run fast enough to clear an area, maybe not a triathlete, but I can get the hell out of the way of something dangerous. I can drive confidently on and off road. I can maneuver around obstacles in a vehicle. That gives you a sense of confidence. And then from confidence, you get calm. And being calm is the best place to be. If something pops off, you just start reacting, and you don't do what a lot of people do, which is lock up, frozen in fear, and become a casualty. This shooting was very weird. I'm pretty sure they're never going to put it out public after they found out it was a trans pro-Palestine, whatever the hell the person was. It was so long, the description of this person, that I was like, okay, this is just retarded. So in any case, folks, be good, be safe out there, pay attention to your surroundings, and remember, train for the most likely scenarios, not the unlikely ones. And the training will apply to those rare ones if they pop up. You guys be good, be safe, and God bless. Take care of yourselves.